Back with another one, another reaction. We got Julian. He's another YouTuber, whistleblower. Feel me? Not playing no games. Julian Dory, leaked billionaire doomsday plan interview. This was like 6 days ago. So let's see what they going on. We gonna react to this. Let's get into it.
And, this is actually a decent example if he ever comes in here. And after this episode, probably won't. But a decent example to give you an idea like how I approach these things. So I don't do gotcha sit downs with people. I talk with people for 3 hours. That's the way it's been since the beginning of the podcast. We had, without knowing about any of this, months ago, looked into having Kevin O'Leary in. I think I know some people who know him. I think that's how that came up.
Yeah, I've spoke with his people too.
Right.
They've been receptive.
And maybe that'll happen. If Kevin O'Leary came in here, I'm not going to sit down and be like, yo, fuck you, bro. What are you doing? I want to hear him out. I want to, rather than a 90-second fucking sitting in his car answering a basic question on some mainstream network or whatever it was, I want to actually have a discussion. See what it is. Have him lay out his whole case. Be able to lay out the same case respectfully and carefully that I just did to you guys in probably a way more forgiving tone, to see what he does with that. And then you guys out there can judge away based on whatever his responses are. And wherever that lands, it lands. That my job is, as best I can, to not, my opinions come into some things, but I don't want you to just like take my opinions, including on this show, obviously. My job is to present the things as best I can and then let you guys figure it out. Agree with me, disagree with me, agree with the guest, disagree with the guest, however you want, based on what the facts laid out are. But yeah, I haven't really thought about this in the context of now what's coming up. I probably still want to do that podcast because I think that should happen.
Yeah,
and I know 100%. Where my head's at. I'm gonna be honest. My bias is with the people here. I think this is way too fast, way too much, without even knowing all the specifics of just what a AI data race this is.
And a big issue that I take with stuff like this, and it was a big issue with the Andover, New Jersey meeting a few days ago, is that they're rolling out these projects for billions on billions of dollars with no incentive or very little incentive to the town, to the schools, to the people. So it's just like, who is this for? Who is this really for?
That's right. And again, it's a big part of the AI craze. And I don't, and this is something I would say to Kevin O'Leary, I don't think like Kevin O'Leary thinks. Kevin O'Leary is a stone cold business investor. I don't say that as a slight or a compliment.
No.
He is a very successful businessman.
Yep.
Who is always looking at trends, and what he gets off on, as best as I can tell, is like, let's make a deal and let's grow from that deal. And good for him. Like, that's a part of what runs the economy. I don't have that gene. I'm a creative. As I've discussed recently, I'm romantic about how I make money. I like to do things I love, and wherever it lands, and that's probably why I don't have a lot of money. I should probably get a little better at it. Maybe I could take a point or two.
Preaching to the choir, brother.
Right? But like, the downside of being purely motivated that way is that maybe even through the right intentions in your head, you pave your way to hell with the wrong intentions subconsciously. Because subconsciously, what you're seeing is target, trend, acquire, go. And you lose the people that are caught in the middle of that because you see them as assets or liabilities or a mix therein. I don't know. But it takes the humanity out of things. And again, sometimes that's not intentional. Other times it is. These guys like Kevin O'Leary, they got to look themselves in the mirror at night and decide what it is. And they know the truth there. So I won't say one way or the other. But, when you're looking at late stage empires throughout history, we talk about it so much. There are all these different trends that happen over and over again. Go back to the Roman Empire, go back to any empire. And one of them is a separation of classes. The diminishingly small, powerful, more and more powerful elites, and everyone else. And eventually, the scale of math and money tips. Now, what's funny is this is like the story of my life, but not what I just said, what I'm about to say. I was watching a clip a couple days ago. I believe Elizabeth Lane posted it on Twitter. It was from the Rebel Wisdom show hosted by David Fuller. It was from back in 2020 with Douglas Rushkoff, who spent a lot of time with billionaires. Guy I don't know a ton about, but I was thinking to myself, man, this would make a great podcast. And then today, Danny Jones drops a podcast with Douglas Rushkoff. So shout out Danny Jones. Everyone go check out that episode. Danny Jones never, ever gets the credit he deserves. Basically, if you look at any big podcast where like a guest blows up, there's a 20% chance over the past like 5 years that this was Danny Jones plus X number of months. Like Danny gets people first, turns over rocks, or, you know, people, maybe sometimes people who are known but just haven't done the podcast circuit or whatever, and he gets it and then it goes. So maybe that'll happen with this Douglas Rushkoff guy. But let's play this clip real quick, Deef, because again, this was released on February 7th, 2020. So over a month before the pandemic started, which was obviously a world-changing event and all that. And Douglas Rushkoff is talking about some very candid conversations he has had with people who I would describe as very separated from the realities of the average person. Let's run it.
Yeah, I was invited to do what I thought was a talk to like bankers or something at a resort. And instead of me going out on stage to do a talk, they brought these 5 guys into the green room who started peppering me with all these questions about the digital future, like Bitcoin or Ethereum and augmented reality or virtual reality. I figured it was one of these things where it's just these 5 billionaires looking for, investment strategies from someone who's on the ground in the cyber revolution. And eventually they got around to the question of, Alaska or New Zealand. Right? So they wanted to know mainly how to prepare for the inevitable collapse of society. And the question we spent most of the time on was, how do I maintain control of my security force after the event? Because their money's going to be worthless and these guys will turn on them. And it just struck me that here are the wealthiest and most powerful men I've ever encountered, yet they feel utterly powerless to influence the digital future, that the best they can do is prepare for the inevitable collapse and, insulate themselves from the reality that they're creating by earning money in the way they're earning it. And it was sad, but it was indicative of the way these folks are thinking. The high-level billionaires, like the Elon Musks and Jeff Bezos, they want to get off the planet altogether, really just leave us behind. But the mid-level billionaires who can't afford rocket ships, they want to build, bunkers and secret communities and get robot guards and, and to protect themselves from the rest of us. And they really think that this is where it's going, or at least they're convinced enough that they're putting in 20-30% of their wealth into these survivalist scenarios, and it's a dark place for us to have gotten. Particularly the people who are building the technological infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think your conclusion to that was.
So this last part we're going to watch of this right here. This is in a nutshell, to me, just encapsulates the complete separation from reality. And I would argue, at the very least, a basic human decency or straight up lack of humanity that some of, and I'm not labeling all people, some of these elites, seemingly the ones that he's talking with, have of all of us. Let's play it.
Well, if you want to stop your kind of security force basically mutinying, you're going to have to treat them well. Basically, the only things that actually are going to be useful in those environments are things like trust, love, care, and the soft skills, because you can't actually, the money isn't going to help.
Right, and a legacy of doing that. You can't just start when they arrive. I mean, the joke was, I said, if you really want, you want your head of security to protect you, pay for his daughter's bat mitzvah today. And they all laughed because none of their heads of security are Jewish guys with, daughters getting bat mitzvahs. But they understood what I meant. If you've paid for someone's daughter's bat mitzvah, then when push comes to shove, it's going to be hard for them to kill you, 20 years later in the shelter, because they'll think, this guy paid for my daughter's bat mitzvah.
All right, pause it right there. Can't just kill him.
Creating custom clothing with Tapstitch is simple. Start by choosing a garment, then click Design Now.
It's so sad.
It shouldn't even stress you out anymore. Like, we understand that these people are evil. They're connected to evil. We've heard all the evil things that these people be doing. It's no argument. It's no debate anymore.
It is so sad that advice like that needs to be given. But basically, like, yeah, get a little ashtray money and fucking buy off your security guy. Throw him $100,000 so he doesn't kill you in 10 years when the whole world's over. And the fact that these people are thinking that way, and to Douglas's credit, he talked about the only things that would matter in that type of scenario, where he's like, love, trust, lean on each other's safety and things like that. The fact that these people that he's talking with don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Those words mean nothing to them. They operate in a world of just this.
It's crazy.
You got to live with yourself, man. I wish you all the best. But, like, don't come to us, the people, literally everyone who's not a billionaire, and tell them how to live their lives, whether that be through dark funding to the government. Don't tell us how wars need to be fought. And I say all this knowing full well they're going to continue to do these things. But, like, I'm just, like everyone, I'm sick of it. Like, you're not even, at some point, you're not even human. And, like, I even do wonder, a guy who I think has done some really good things in the past, and then other times pisses me the hell off, with Elon Musk. He's a controversial dude. But I wonder, like, he said this week his goal is to, like, make 10 million or 10 trillion. Like, why do you need that?
Yeah.
Now, Douglas Rushkoff says it's because he's trying to get off the planet. Him and Bezos. That's what he said specifically. Because you think it's ending? It's dark. It's dark, and I don't like it. Go ahead, Beef.
It's got Red Rising written all over it. I know you haven't. You were touching it a little bit and reading it, but fucking crazy.
That's Pierce Brown.
Pierce Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into that writing style. His writing style is a little different.
Well, that Red Rising was his first book, so you'll see. By the second book, his prose gets a lot better. But man, geez, makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder.
Where will we be in like a few hundred years from now?
Yeah, guys, I don't like
pure spec.
If you pure spec, but like if you know me, politically, I'm cynical. Fully admit that. But when it comes to life, I'm an unabashed optimist. Doesn't mean we're not going to talk about the dark shit. Doesn't mean we're not going to get pissed off at things. Doesn't mean I'm not going to shine a light in the alleyways that need it. Yeah. But like when I walk out of here, I go for walks. The sun is up. I'm happy. I spend time with friends. I go on dates. I have a good time. Like life is life. And I feel so, I don't know. Like I wake up happy to be here. As stressful as like life can be sometimes, and the job, and everyone out there, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's an amazing thing, and you never know when it's going to end. But if there's one thing I feel bad for these people on, it's that they're never going to know what that is, and maybe they never have.
Yeah. Well said. I agree.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both
So yeah, guys, that's that. That was 6 days ago. The Billionaire Doomsday Plan interview everybody missed. Julian. Y'all can go check it out on his podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's dark. It's dark. When you understand really what is governing down here, what are the dark forces that are allowed to govern down here, it all makes sense, man. But let me know how y'all feel in the comment section, man. We gonna keep surfing. More reactions to come, man. Y'all get at me. You're on the front line.